So I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Tamsin Hartley today. Tamsin is a coach, a trainer, the founder of Listening Space, and also an author. Welcome to Making Sense.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you for inviting me here to join you.
You're welcome. Tell everyone a little bit more about you.
Okay, actually, I started life as a physiotherapist for 10 years, and then I retrained as a coach. And I became fascinated in listening and learning how to listen to ourselves and to listen to others. And over the years, I've created this way of listening called the Listening Space.
Lovely. And I think something that's really interesting about your offer, Tamsin, is that we all think we're really good at listening. We do it all day long. We're listening to our internal chatter. We're listening to each other. And yet, actually, we're not that good at it, are we?
No, I think that would be fair to say. And I think, it's interesting because people, when you talk about listening, they're often thinking about, how do I listen to somebody else? Or is somebody else listening to me? But actually, do we really listen to ourselves? So I think there's all sorts of different levels of listening. And so I'd like to bring a bit of attention today to that. How do you listen to yourself so that you can accept the whole range of your thoughts, feelings, your experience? Because when you can do that, it becomes so much easier to really listen to other people.
I love that. And I think my big thing is always, let's start with self first and then we can improve with others. So I love the fact that we can focus on that today. And Tamsin and I met on a course, which is obviously part of what you've developed, and you've taken that to into the listening space. So tell everyone a little bit about that.
I think we met each other through a clean language course, and clean language is a way of asking questions that was created by a New Zealander called David Grove. And at its heart lies a specific set of questions asked in a particular way, and they prevent you from contaminating the conversation. That's why they're called clean. They prevent you from contaminating the conversation with your assumptions, with your suggestions. And I have a metaphor that I like to use that helps you to listen in this way, I think. So what I say is that when you're going to listen, whether it's listening to yourself or others, if you can first wipe your feet on the welcome mat. So this welcome mat is my metaphor for wiping away any desire to fix, change, analyze, interpret. And you're welcoming in the whole range of your thoughts, feelings, whether that be bodily sensation feelings or your emotions. And you're welcoming them in equal measure. Because so often we suppress thoughts and feelings because we feel that we shouldn't be having them. I shouldn't feel like that. I oughtn't to be feeling that way or thinking those thoughts, when actually it's just human nature to be self-doubting, to be a bit paranoid sometimes. It's just part of what makes us who we are, where we have moments of vulnerability. And if we can accept those and be with them, it can actually be very settling.
I think it's so important for us all to hear that, to remember that our thoughts happen. We can't help them. We will think things. We'll think things about other people. We'll think things about ourselves. But the trick is what you're going to do with those thoughts. And are you going to follow them, believe them, or can you, as you're going to help us today, understand how to pay a bit more attention to them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the risk is if we don't allow ourselves to have the whole range of our thoughts and feelings, we either suppress them, and that can have an impact on our physical and or emotional well-being over time. But it can also, so in doing that, we're kind of rupturing the relationship we have with ourselves. Or so we either suppress them or we try and throw them onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if I'm feeling really angry about something, now if I can't allow myself to feel those feelings, there's a risk that I might pass them on to somebody else. I have a psychotherapist friend who has shared this metaphor with me, that it's almost like you get a ball, and that ball of anger, if I can't feel it myself, then I might take that ball and try and pass it on to you, pass it on to somebody else. And when I do that, so that I don't have to feel those feelings myself, When I do that, I risk rupturing the relationship with that other person. So in so many ways, being able to listen to ourselves and being with the whole range of our thoughts and feelings can make a big difference to our well-being, to our relationships with others.
Because when we are passing it on to someone else, as you, to use your metaphor, we're doing it to try and make ourselves feel better, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always remind people of that, when somebody's been pretty horrible to a family member or a friend, you remembering that they're doing it to try and make themselves feel better. It doesn't mean it's okay. Yeah. But it means that that's what they're doing. And obviously that becomes very dangerous for relationships, friendships, etc. Even in work situations, it happens too.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah.
Oh, good. Absolutely. Okay, tell us a little bit more. So we wipe our feet on the welcome mat.
Yeah.
And what's the next steps for people?
Getting curious and finding a way of asking yourself, I wonder what's happening for me right now. And clean language questions are a great way of doing that. But it's just a way of saying, okay, I wonder what's happening for me without judging, but just being curious. And that can make a big difference.
Go on.
So one way of doing, actually, probably the easiest way is to start with an activity that does just that. That invites curiosity about your experience. Would that be okay to do that now?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So on my website, thelisteningspace.co.uk, there are a number of clean meditations, and these use clean questions to invite awareness of your experience, all different aspects of your experience, and you can do those. You can download those for free. But we could do one of those now, having wiped our feet on the welcome mat, and just notice what arises for us without judging, and just welcoming the whole range of thoughts, feelings that might arise. And we can do it by bringing awareness to our breathing. Okay, so find yourself a quiet spot, and I'm going to invite you just to make yourself comfortable, whatever that means for you. I'm going to do a clean breathing meditation. So I'm going to give you an instruction followed by a set of questions. And after each question, I'm just going to pause a while to give you plenty of time to notice where your attention goes. Just notice what arises for you in response to each question. Now, remember, you've got to wipe your feet on the welcome mat. So that means not trying to judge, just accepting what is. What arises for you. So you're not trying to get anywhere with this. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're just being with your experience right now as it is. So here we go. Notice your breathing. And what kind of breathing is that breathing? And whereabouts do you notice your breathing? Do you notice your breathing on the inside or the outside? And does that breathing have a size or a shape? And does that breathing have a sound? And is there anything else about that breathing? And bringing your awareness back to the room around you. One thing you can do, so I've asked you some clean questions about your breathing. One thing you can do now is just to get a pen and paper and represent what arose for you in some way on paper. And that might be an image and it might be some words. So if you want to have a go, grab yourself a piece of paper and a pen and just represent what arose for you.
Brilliant.
So there you go, a clean meditation.
Thank you, Tamsin. That was really special. I think just everyone we know might have a different response to some of those questions, and all of their answers are great. But I think what I noticed about when I was doing it with you is it is just bringing your attention away from everything else that might have been going on, whatever busyness I've got, what's next after this, etc. It just brings your attention, doesn't it? Just to something that your body knows and appreciates, and is actually a very safe sound and a very safe activity, for want of a better word.
Yeah, and it may be that you only ask one or two questions. What kind of breathing? Just to bring awareness. What kind of breathing is that? It's like a way of saying, I wonder what's happening for me right now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a whole range of those 5 questions. It could just be one. What kind of breathing? Whereabouts am I noticing my breathing?
I think it's really powerful to actually spend a little bit of time thinking about this, because I was working with somebody the other day and I noticed that her breathing was very, very high up in her chest. And she hadn't noticed that she was doing that, but actually once she had put a little bit, and I did direct the attention, because it was so obvious that she was breathing up very, very high up in her chest, and what she was saying was obviously quite anxious type of thoughts. And just by being able to pay attention to that, when I saw her the next time, she said it had made a huge difference.
Yeah,
she was just stretching her shoulders out a bit and breathing deeper into her tummy, and it was giving her a different experience.
Yeah, and allowing that experience to be what it is. And I think one of the things that can be really useful is, particularly in moments when we feel uncomfortable, maybe triggered by something, that we're experiencing difficulty, perhaps in a conversation with somebody else, it can be really useful just to have a way of pressing pause in that moment and just being able to say to yourself, ask yourself, I wonder what's happening right now, and being open to whatever that might be. And just sitting with that experience, not needing to fix it or make it better necessarily, but noticing, because in the awareness, things often change anyway, as they did for this person that you were talking about.
Yeah, very powerful, very, very powerful. Okay, so tell everyone where they can find you. How can they, if they really loved what you've done? I know you've got a book, obviously you can talk about that, and any other things that you've got going on.
So yes, I've got a website, as I mentioned earlier, thelisteningspace.co.uk. There are lots of resources there, links to the book, the Listening Space book. I've also written a book of poems called Captured Moments. At the moment, I'm in the process of writing a book for parents called Being a Parent, Bringing a Listening Space to Family Life. I've got a YouTube channel. You can, on the website, there are links to Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I'm in the process of creating short videos of some simple processes like the one I've just done with you, some meditations. I'm going to be doing one about brain awareness. I'm going to be doing one about how you can settle yourself in moments of stress, tension. So yeah, you can be watching out for those as well.
Nice. Thank you so much. Such a lot on offer for everyone. So thank you so much. So let's end with the one little small tip. I've got this thing I'm always saying, what's one small thing that we could do, that we could take on? What would be, after this conversation, Tamsin, what would be your one thing, your one small thing that you could offer just to get people started? My gift to everyone is that welcome mat. Everyone can have their own welcome mat. I have a proper mat, like doormat, and it's a lovely rich yellow colour, and it's got a sunshine on it. And if you could allow yourself every now and again in a safe space to sit with, to be with whatever's happening for you right now, and know that that's okay. It's part of what it means to be human, and to be able to get curious and ask yourself, I wonder what's happening for me right now. Lovely. I love that. And I think there's something that I'm often encouraging people to do, is to do exactly that, and to sit with that discomfort. Yeah. And often people sort of look at me as if say, what? You're suggesting that I sit with whatever's going on and that discomfort? And yes, I am. Because in that discomfort, we can often find the most richest, most amazing realizations, can't we? And not to be frightened of it. It's normal. Yeah. The fear of the discomfort just magnifies the discomfort. Yeah. Lovely. Brilliant. So welcome, Matt. Welcome, Matt. Lovely. We've all got our own welcome mat now. So oh, thank you so much, Tamsin, for coming and sharing your wisdom and all your wonderful resources that you've got. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's been lovely to be here. You're welcome.